Hello, fellow residents of Tamriel. It is the Beeve, and we are back again with another build video. Today's video is going to have the same concept as the ones that we've done in the past. This is going to be a double Destro Magicka Nightblade, and getting 100k builds with double Destro right now is a little bit challenging. I'm not gonna lie; they're definitely not the meta. The Destro staffs need a rework in my personal opinion, because your melee weapons just have really good a really good setup to them to be able to deal damage, and that's a lot of the reasons why they are the way they are right now, being the meta, even when it comes to Magicka based tunes. But in keeping a traditional concept, this is a double Destro staff build. We are constantly trying to put out 100k builds here that will use cheap food, so that you're not breaking the bank with food. We center it around like Witch Mother's Potent Brew for the Magicka tunes, like this one's using right here. That way you're getting health out of it, you're getting Magicka, and you're getting Magicka recovery. So this video is going to be a little different than you're used to seeing. I'm going to go over everything, and then I'm going to put up the combat metrics of a couple of different parses, just to show you exactly what the build can do. And then I'm going to attach the actual parse at the end of the video, so that it can be watched if you want to, and if you don't want to go through that whole thing, then you can just look at the combat metrics and know exactly what it does. And I got I got 4 different parses that I want to go over, because I have 2 different gear sets with 2 different rotations that I want to go over. There's nothing huge, big differences about them, to be honest with you, but one's a little bit better than the other, but it's just a little bit more taxing on resources. So this build is a high elf, and we are using, we have 64 points into our Magicka. We are using the Witch Mother's Potent Brew, and we do have a Thief Mundus Stone active. When we go into our character sheet and we fully buff ourselves here, 30,000 Magicka with a 1369 recovery, 23,000 health, 14,000 stamina, 4675 on spell damage, 66.6% critical rating. The spell and physical penetrations both sit at 4613, and our resistances sit at 13,999 and 13,273, but when I cast Twisting Path here, I get my major resolve, which takes them to both 19,000. One of the spell was almost 20,000 actually. So, and the reason that is from the shadow line passive here, where casting a shadow ability grants you major resolve for 12 seconds and increases your physical and spell resistance. Duration is increased by 2 seconds for each piece of heavy armor we have equipped, and we do have 1 piece of heavy armor on, so we get 14 seconds of this. So when we are rotating with this particular build right here, we have a very good uptime on that major resolve, so that's a nice damage mitigator for us. When we go into our inventory, it's going to look the same as you've seen with the other ones, with a slight differences that I'm going to tell you about here as well. We are using Perfected Reliquins. This is a medium armor set found in the Cloud Rush trial. Perfected is not a big deal, especially on this character. We get an extra 1,096 maximum stamina out of this gear set. And that stamina really isn't doing us any good. So as a Mage tune, so the 5-piece, the perfected bonus on the Reliquins doesn't do us any good here, to be honest with you. So if you don't have perfected, you're just fine. Now we do use the jewelry from Reliquins as well. All of them are in Bloodthirsty. All of them are with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on them. The Reliquant's Perfected Lightning Staff, I do have this in precise, and we are using a flame damage glyph on this because I'm trying to proc at burning status effect as often as possible for the, the wall of elements that we use. We use a flame staff for the wall of elements, and anything that's burning while they're standing in that takes 10% more damage from it, so it boosts the damage on the wall of elements, so that we're trying to proc that that burning as much as possible. Our back bar weapon is our Maelstrom's Perfected Inferno Staff. We have it infused with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. The perfected version is not a necessity by any means. You can use the regular version of this. This is acquired from the Maelstrom Arena. You get non-perfected for normal runs. You get perfected for for veteran runs. And the difference is 1190 offensive penetration. I've been over this a bunch at this point. That 1190 offensive penetration doesn't mean jack on the Trial Atronach, first off, because we are already at pen cap to begin with. And then for all the longer you are on that back bar applying dots, you're not getting and really any benefit from it, even in content. Maybe, if anything, just slightly, to be honest with you. So the perfected version of this is not a necessity. Our monster helm, we are using the Zon, as we have in our past videos as well. The Zon is a monster helm that can be acquired from the Scalecaller Peak Veteran Dungeon after completing it on Vet. And you can get the shoulders from the Undaunted Enclave, the orc lady that gives the DLC dungeons as their quests. You can spend your keys with her to get coffers to take a chance to get what you need. I am using a light shoulder and I'm using a heavy head, and they are I'm doing this for the Undaunted passive for the extra resources from wearing one light, one heavy, and 5 medium right now. If you wanted to go with 6 medium and 1 light, you could, but with a Nightblade, there is the passives in the assassination class line that gives you an extra 10% critical strike damage. And so, like, we've already gotten ourselves to the critical strike damage cap. So there's no reason to, if we put another if we do 6 medium, we are losing, like, we're wasting 2%. Like, we'll be at 127%. So rather than have the medium helm, I opted for the heavy helm so that we get a little extra stamina, magicka, and health from that Undaunted passive. We do have 5 pieces of medium. We are using the Highland Sentinel Jack. This is that set that's very popular right now because it's all critical and then stacks a critical for standing still in battle. It is great for parsing. It's going to be great for fights where you can be stationary, but if you're a runner of some sort, or if you are doing ice cages or portals and you're constantly always moving, or you're in fights where you have to move a lot, this set won't do you much good, to be honest with you. So in that situation, I do have a parses where I've traded out the Highland Sentinel for the Kinraws. And this is a nice set that provides a lot of weapon and spell damage, a line of critical, and major berserk just from dealing light and heavy attacks. And, there will be a 12-meter aura around you once you get 5 stacks from doing light and heavy attacks. And you increase your damage by 10%. You also provide your group with minor berserk, which a lot of times they're already going to have from a healer or some other sorcerer or whatnot. But if they don't, then you provide it. So, but that is an option that you can switch up there. You can go with the Kinraws on the body if you wanted to. If you were going to be in fights where you had to be mobile all the time. Everything on my body is all in divines. Everything has the maximum magicka enchant on it. Champion trees, you can do what you like in the red tree or in the green tree. The red tree, I would definitely make sure you have Boundless Vitality and the rejuvenation. The extra recovery is kind of needed with this. This is a very taxing build for taxing rotation for your resources if you're not careful and understand what you're doing. So I would definitely have those two slotted, and then make sure you have your hero's vigor for the extra maximum health there as well. In your blue tree, make sure you fill out all your constellations that provide benefits for you that you don't have to slot, like your blessed here, eldritch insight, precision, timeless discipline. In this constellation, I didn't put any of these in. Not that I use it. I mean, this is just the PTS, and I'm not actually taking this out into content. But quick recovery, hardy, elemental aegis, and preparation are good things to have. They're all damage mitigation. Make sure you have in your extended might that you're filling in your piercing, your flawless ritual, war mage, battle mastery, and mighty. I also do have, as weird as this might come to some people, I'm using weapons expert as one of my slotted abilities for light and heavy attack damage. It seems to work out pretty well for me. I don't need fighting finesse or backstabber, so that's the reason for that. We are slotting Wrathful Strikes, we are slotting Deadly Aim, we are slotting Master at Arms, and like you've seen, we are slotting Weapons Master, or Weapons Expert. If you wanted to go with Thaumaturge, because we do damage over time, you could do that, or Biting Aura for area of effects. Thaumaturge would probably be a better option, to be honest with you. You could even just go with Untamed Aggression for extra weapon and spell damage, but having tested most of them, or all of them even, I seem to get better results personally from the weapons expert, so that's why I have it filled in and slotted. Skills are going to go a little like this. On the Maelstrom bar, we are using Blockade of Fire. Notice this is not the unstable wall. The unstable wall only lasts 10 seconds. I want this extra 5 seconds that you get from the blockade to get in as many spammables as I can, and it seems to work out very well for me. And when I combine it with other long-lasting dots, it makes the rotation a lot more static and easy to manage, especially for people that are just learning to rotate, or if you just want to be lazy like I want to be. I don't want to do all that dynamic bar swapping all the time thing. That just seems like a pain in the butt to me, so I make things as static as possible for myself. Next, we have Twisting Path. This is a nice damage over time. The last 12 seconds, plus provides major expedition for you and your group while inside of it, and 4 seconds after leaving it as well. Plus, it does really good damage. 1,500 magic damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second that's a good dot right there. Especially with our crit chance being as high as we get it, like it's sitting at 66.6 right now. It's going to get well over 80 once we have all our stacks on the Sentinel. So this crits a lot. We have siphoning attacks right here. This is just while slotted on a bar, dealing damage gives you health every 1 second, which is great. You can sacrifice 4,000 health to give yourself 2,600 magicka and stamina, which is a nice way to boost your own sustain. And I have this here just for the fact that we don't have to hit it all the time, but since we're using that purple food, this is a taxing rotation. So I keep this right here just in case you need it. Like if you need it, you can hit this right after dropping your Twisting Path and bar swapping to next to your front bar just for your extra magic and stamina, and still do it quick enough to be able to keep the stacks of your Reliquin up. These are like, you put here whatever you want. I just have both of these here for the critical strike rating on the back bar right here, but you can change these out if you want to put a heal here for yourself. If you want to put any type of thing here, you can. Now, our ultimate we're using is Incapacitating Strikes. Incapacitating Strikes is a very awesome ultimate. You know, it costs 70 to throw out, and it does a lot of disease damage when you hit it. If you cast it with more than 120 or more, it does even more damage. And both of them, when they go off, they uh, when you strike an enemy with this. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. The For 8 seconds, the target takes 20% more damage, and if you wait and do it at 120 ultimate, they take that extra 20% damage for 12 seconds. So you know, at the start of the fight, we're definitely going to have more than 120, so we're going to get that. But the extra 50 ultimate it would cost going from 70 to 120 is not worth the 4 seconds. Like by the time, you know, think of it this way. You know, it takes 70 ultimate to you know, call this out. When you get to that 70 ultimate, you hit it, and you would need another 50 ultimate. Well, you'd only be 20 ultimate away from another incapacitating strike if you had called it out at 70. So you know, the first one we're going to hit it at, you know, over 120, and then from there on out we're hitting it. You know, we're hitting it when it's available. On our front bar, we are using Relentless Focus. This is a nice ability that you know, anytime we light attack, it gives us a stack of 80 weapon and spell damage. It stacks up to 5 times, so we can get up another 400 weapon and spell damage from this ability stacking. But when it is stacked all the way to 5, it procs into a spectral bow, and it deals a ton of damage. It heals you, and it's just like when this procs, this is a priority. When you get this to 5 stacks, you're hitting it. You want to hit this every chance as soon as it procs. You want to make sure you're hitting this. It just does way too much damage to ignore it until you get into execute phase. When you get into execute phase, when you get 25% or less, we're not hitting that anymore. We're going to let those stacks stay on there to power our execute, the impale, as much as possible. But from 100% to 26%, we're hitting Relentless Focus as often as possible. We are using Concealed Weapon. This is the nice thing about this build. There is class identity to it. Our spammable is going to be Concealed Weapon. It does just a really nice amount of damage. If you hit an enemy from their flank, it sets them off balance. If you're not really going to be sneaking in PvE content, would be good for PvP, obviously. But while slotted on either bar, you gain Minor Expedition as well, increasing movement speed by 15%. So that's really nice too. Impale is our ultimate. We are doing this from 25% and lower. Don't do it any earlier than 25%, because it just does butt for damage at 26 and above. So, but as soon as you hit 25%, this is your main spammable. You're ignoring your Concealed Weapon. You're ignoring Relentless Focus. We do have Barb Trap on here. This is going to give us a bleed damage over time, a minor force, and it's going to provide us with some hemorrhaging status effect every now and again. Dark Shade. This is a nice ability right here. You call this Shade out. He comes out for 22 seconds and just does damage, passive damage for you. He also provides minor maim for 4 seconds, reducing damage done by 5% also. So, a nice little utility, and he does a good bit of damage, honestly. It doesn't seem like he would, considering it's, you know, 2,471 magic damage every 2 seconds. But this thing hits. You'll see it in the combat metrics. Incapacitating strikes on this bar as well. This is the bar that we'll be calling it out on. If you wanted to, if you wanted to put something different on the front bar, you could. I mean, you could put anything on here you wanted, but your incapacitating strikes on your front bar is going to be your most damage dealing ultimate at this point. Rotation is fairly simple, to be honest with you. We're gonna call out our shade, and then we're gonna run in and drop our trap. That's the first thing we're gonna do. Then we're gonna bar swap to the back bar. We're gonna light attack blockade, light attack twisting path. If we need resources, we can hit the siphoning attack. If we don't, then we're bar swapping after twisted path. So let's say we don't need it, so it's gonna be shade. We're going to run in, drop trap, light attack blockade, light attack twisting path, then we're going to bar swap. Then we're going to light attack conceal weapon until we have 5 stacks of our relentless focus. And as soon as we get our 5 stacks on a relentless focus, we're gonna throw out our spectral bow, and then go right back to spamming a light attack concealed weapon spam. When you see your blockade falling off in a second or so, you want to light attack barb trap, light attack dark shade. You want to bar swap back to the back bar, and then just start the rotation over. So to go over it again, it will be activate shade, run in, drop trap, then bar swap, and we're going to be doing light attack blockade, light attack twisting path, light attack siphoning attacks if we need it. If we don't need it, then we skip that. And then it's going to be light attack concealed weapon, and you're going to spam this until relentless focus is up and available. You're going to light attack relentless focus when it's ready, and then go back to light attack spamming concealed weapon. When there's about a second left on your blockade on the front bar or on the back bar, you are going to light attack barb track, light attack dark shade, bar swap, and start the whole thing over. When you get to that 25% range, we're going to stop using concealed weapon. We're going to stop using relentless focus, and it's just literally going to be just a light attack impale spam at that point. So it probably sounds like a lot to take in, especially just hearing it and not doing it, but it's pretty simple, honestly, and it's very it's pretty simple. It does a good bit of damage. Just for the sake of going over it, let's do that first, like I said earlier. So this here is our parse, where we use the Highland Sentinel, the Reliquins, the Zon. With this particular setup that I just showed you, we hit 101k. We had 89% spell critical rating, so we're killing it on spell critical. 125% critical damage. When you look here, we are let's do buffs first. Let's see, your major resolve, because of the shadow ability we use, that twisting path, that's providing us that major resolve, and then when we're rotating correctly, it's up 96% of the time. That's 96% of the time where you have major resolve and you're getting your physical and spell resistance to mitigate damage, so that's awesome. Concealed weapon, 20k worth of damage throughout the parse. It critted at a 93% rate. It averaged 48, maxed to 57. Impale came in right after that. It critted at 96%, 24 of 25. It averaged 100k and maxed out at 114. Light attack and Reliquin are right in line with each other. There's 20k worth of damage right there just from light attack weaving while using Reliquins. Blockade of Fire, 83. Relentless Focus, that's the The spectral bow, it did 75. Now we only fired this thing off 20 times, and it did 7,600 damage here. It's average 79 and hit as high as 94. Corrosive Drain, this is the little shade guy. He averaged 40. He did 4,700 damage for us. Twisting Path 45. Burning and Zawn right here, hand in hand, almost exactly the same as each other. Looking at almost 4K worth, or 8K worth of damage between both of them. And remember, this burning status effect that went off 141 times, every time that is on, this blockade of fire is doing 10% more damage. That's why that blockade's up here doing 8,300 damage per second. Then we have our Barb Trap, our Incapacitating Strikes, our Light Attack on our, our Inferno Staff. Like, our Fiery Weapon went off 46 times. That's our glyph on our Lightning Staff. Oh, and in case I didn't mention this, we are using, Inferno on the back bar for the dots that we put down, mainly just for that extra burning status effect damage that we get from that on that wall of elements. And on the front bar, we are using a lightning staff because the lightning staff now buffs single target damage. So we're getting more damage for our spectral bow, more damage for our concealed strike, concealed weapon. So that is why we're using lightning on the front bar, fire on the back bar. So this right here, this is the parse, and actually this is actually a little lower. This normally gets about 103 to 105 with the parse there, with the setup that I just showed you. If I go back one right here, this right here is the same exact rotation that we went over with the other one, but instead this is with the Kinross instead of the Highland Sentinel. This would be what you would wear in content that you can't hold still very long. And this right here hit 100K, just a little over 100K actually, but really good damage on this as well. Obviously the spell critical is not as high. The critical damage is still the same. We're still doing a lot of damage. The concealed weapon still did a lot. Impale still did a lot. Didn't do quite as much average, but it did max out higher one time. Like the there we go. But so going with Kinross gives you a viable second option if you can't hold still in the fight. So that is that's definitely something that you can switch to. And the Kinross is a medium armor set that is found in the Black Drake Villa dungeon, and you can go in there on normal and just farm it if you need to. Now, I did tell you there was a second thing that you could do with this build, and I'm going to show you that right now. We could take siphoning attacks off of here and put on here Debilitate. This is another 20 seconds worth of damage over time, plus applies an overcharge status effect. We can put this on here and use this, but the only problem with this is that sustain with the purple food doesn't work. And honestly, like when I put on the Ghastly Eyeball, which is just all stamina or all magicka recovery, it still has a hard time. I still have to mix in like one or two light attack or one or two heavy attacks in the rotation to keep my sustain. Not too many heavy attacks, but it is a possibility to be able to do this. But the adding this Debilitate right here, and if you wanted to do that, you could put on the ghastly eyeball, so you have sustain. Like I said, you'll have to heavy attack every now and again just to keep your sustain up. To be honest with you, that you'll understand how to do it. It just comes along with rotational awareness and paying attention to your resources, but it can be done pretty easily. And throwing in a heavy attack with that lightning staff doesn't lose you a whole bunch of damage either. You know, you get a couple different ticks off that heavy attack as well. But that particular setup right there, let's see, this is, I think this one right here should be, yeah, so this would be, this particular setup right here was the Kinraws, the Reliquins, and using the debilitate rotation. It hit 104k, so not a huge damage uptake, to be completely honest. But it is an option if you wanted to squeeze more damage out of your build. That's something that you can add to it right there. It does make it a little harder to sustain, like I said in the past. But and then this one right here is the Highland Sentinel and the Reliquins with that rotation that has debilitate added into it. Where is it at? Oh, it was right there. And this does have debilitate in there, yeah. And we actually hit less than the Kinraws here with 103k, where with the Kinraws it was 104k. Now, to be completely honest with you, that was a low end number right there. I've seen this hit 107, 108 on a pretty consistent basis. Got 5k less on this one, and I wasn't going to sit there and just keep parsing. But that's definitely an option. But for the trade-off on the damage isn't that big of a deal, and then you'd have to be putting on recovery food rather than health and recovery food. So the original setup that I showed you is going to be a really good setup for you. It's very easy to sustain by giving yourself the ability to do so with your siphoning attacks up here that you can hit whenever you need them to, whenever, like if you're getting low on magicka. Now, it does drain your health to do that, so you don't want to do it all the time, obviously, but you have the ability to, increase your own sustain with the siphoning attacks right here. I'm going to attach the Tri-Ultraronic Parse at the end of this, which is going to be the Highland Sentinel and Reliquin one that hit 103 or whatever. And you can, you can go from there and check it out and see what you like about it and whatnot. But that's all I got for you guys. I don't want to ramble on and take any more of your time here. I think I've done that enough. So thank you very much for tuning in. And if you like this, please give me a like and subscribe. That would be very wonderful. And if you'd like to see more of this where you can interact more with it, we're still trying to get some people involved in the over on Kick, where we're doing we'll be doing live builds for people that don't have the ability to do it themselves. They can contact me, tell me what they'd like to see me try. I'll put it together, I'll try it, and they can people can join in and ask questions or whatever. So if that's something that is interesting to you, give me a follow over on Kick at _Beav, BEAV 01, and hit me up on here or hit me up over there, and send me what you'd like to see, and I'll put it together for you. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate everything that you do. Appreciate anyone who stuck this out. I know it was a very long-winded video, and I apologize, but Once again, thank you. I appreciate it greatly, and happy adventuring.